Hey, how's it going everyone? This is Brandon Bias from CheckIt.com here with another amazing and exciting not Tutorial Tuesday. It's Tuesday night that I'm recording this, but I have a very bad feeling that there's absolutely no way whatsoever that this is going to be done by tonight. So, let's see. I'm sure you guys want to go ahead and just get right into this tutorial. But before we actually get into it, I'm sure you kind of want to know what we're doing. So, voila! This is what we're working on today, guys. This is a water text effect made with the 3D Reppousé tool in Photoshop CS5 Extended Edition. At least I think it's just Photoshop CS5 Extended. I don't think it's in any other version. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't even really remember. I'm not a Photoshop expert. I just make crap with it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get right into this tutorial. I'm just going to go ahead and close this up and start up a new document. And we're going to do the usual 1280 by 720 with a 72 resolution and a transparent background. You can use something different if you so choose, but that's completely up to you. And over here, since I've got black as my background color, I'm going to fill this in with black by hitting Control Backspace or Command Delete if you're on a Mac. If I were to have this flipped around and have black as my foreground color, then that shortcut would have been Alt Backspace, not Control Backspace. So anyway, now we've got black as our background right here, so we'll just go ahead and rename this layer Black BG. Totally unnecessary, sometimes useful. So with that set up, let's go ahead and go to our text tool by hitting the letter T. And we're going to go up here and make sure that our font is set to Freestyle Script, which is, I'm pretty sure, a default font. I don't really know for sure. I've got a crap load of fonts in here, so forgive me if this is not a default font. Let's see, we've got a 562 point size on this because, let's see, if I click and type the word water, you can see that it's barely big enough to, even look at. So 562 on the points, and then I've got it set to strong, and then the color is white. So that's what we got going here, and let's kind of put that a little closer towards the middle like so. And I've got this squished together a little bit. The way I did that was bringing up this little character thing over here. If you don't have that, just go to Window Character right there. And then I've got the AV set to -60, and that just pushes it together. So if this was just 0, these would be very spaced apart. So just set that to -60, and that squishes it nice together for you. So let's go ahead and check mark that. And let's actually kind of move this down just a little bit more, because I like it nice and perfectly in the middle like so. Very nice. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is go ahead and make it so that the W kind of molds into the A a little bit better, and have the A kind of curve into the T, so that way it looks like a nice cursive flowing text like that. So the way we're actually going to do that is go to Edit, Puppet Warp, and this thing's going to say the text layer must be rasterized, blah blah blah, so just hit OK because that's not a huge deal. And you'll see that we get a nice mesh kind of going on the word water. And I'm going to get a better look at this by hitting the tab key to hide all those little side panels and such. And I'm going to zoom in like so. And so what you're going to want to do is click to add a point over here on the top left part of the W. For some reason I haven't been able to see mine very well. I mean, here it is right here. You can kind of see it, but there's supposed to be like a bright yellow. And for some reason, my Photoshop is just being absolutely retarded. So if someone knows why this is like a gray color instead of yellow, so I can't really see it, please let me know, because it's kind of annoying. So anyway, go ahead and add a point on the top left part of the W, add another one on the bottom left, another one straight up the middle, another one in the bottom right, and then another one on the top right, like so. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And the reason we've got 5 is just so that all of this doesn't move, and then we can go to this top right point and click and drag it off to the right like so. And as you can probably see if you zoom in, this kind of goes up and is just kind of like a bump. And it's not a really huge deal. I mean, if you want to go mask that off or something, that's completely up to you, but I think it looks fine, so don't even worry about that little bump that you got going on. So the next thing we're going to do is add a point on the top of the A, the bottom of the A, one at the start of the little curvy thing that kind of comes off of it. I don't know what that's called. And then one more at the very end of it. So we got one up top, one at the bottom, one at the start of the curve, and one at the end of the curve. And then we'll just kind of click and drag this curve up into the letter T, like so. And so if you zoom out, you can see that the W goes nicely into the letter A, the A goes into the T, and because we smushed this together, the T, E, and R are already together. And I just noticed that this is actually, it looks a little bit weird, so I'm going to click and drag. Let's see if I can see the stupid point. Come on. And I'm going to bring this over like so. And then let's click and drag this more that way as well. It's kind of freaking out on me. And so we'll just kind of warp this so that it doesn't look quite so unnatural. And we'll bring that more that way as well. Alright, awesome. It just looked like it was kind of a little stretched out there, so I just kind of brought it in to the right a little bit just to make it a little bit better. If you had no idea what I was doing, don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the tab key to bring back all of my menus and such like that. And then I'm going to hit this little check mark up here to commit those transformations I just made. And we've actually got a good start on what we're doing. And the next thing we want to do is add in those little curves that go into the W and out of the R that you saw in the little preview. And the way we're going to do that is grab our pen tool by hitting the letter P, and then I'm going to zoom out and kind of go somewhere up here in the top left hand area outside the canvas, and I'm going to click and drag down to the left like so. Then I'm going to go over here and click and drag up into the right, and then I'm going to go to the W right around here and click and drag down that way like so. So there we go, we got a nice little curve, just wee, like a little slide. And so actually, let's go ahead and move this way a little bit. So I'm going to hold the control key and click and drag this up and that way. So that's actually looking pretty good. So the next thing we want to do to make sure that this kind of turns out right is to go to our brush tool by hitting the letter B, and then go over here to the brush size and all that stuff, and make sure the hardness is set to 100%. And then the size, you're gonna make sure that's the right size by going to the word, and then you're gonna size your brush up and down and make sure that it kind of fits the size of the word. So right now I'm sitting at like 25, and that should be okay. So we're gonna go to our pen tool again with the letter P, and then I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna say stroke path. And then the tool I'm going to use is, of course, the brush, and we don't want the simulate pressure check marked. Make sure that's off, and then we'll hit OK. And that's actually looking pretty good. Usually I have issues with like the angle that it's going in, but that actually turned out really well. If for some reason your angle seems a little bit off, then just undo that, move around these handles a little bit to kind of change the angle that this is going into the W, and then just stroke that path again, and just make sure you get something that looks natural. So I'm going to get rid of that path by hitting the enter key, and then we're going to go back to this letter R right here, and I'm going to go right about here and click and drag out this direction like so, and I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to go outside the canvas on the bottom right, and I'm going to click and drag down like so. And then actually I'm going to go back to this and hold the Alt key or the Option key if you're on a Mac. I'm going to drag this guy up this direction like so. And that actually looks like it'll work out pretty well. So we'll zoom back in on the R, bring back our brush tool with the letter B, size it down a little bit, make sure that's a good size. Looks pretty good to me, so I'll just go back to the pen tool, right click, stroke path, and hit OK. And that's looking pretty good. Let's hit enter. Alright, this is actually turning out really well. I actually love how this is looking. Alright, so now that we've got this taken care of, what we're going to do is control click or command click the thumbnail for the word water, and that's going to load it up as a selection for us. And now we're going to go to 3D, Reppousé, current selection, and that's going to turn the current selection into your video card does not meet the requirements. What? Hang on a second. Huh, that's weird. It's getting all like pissed off at me for some reason. Huh, and it still works. What the heck's going on here? My computer's being retarded. Whatever, as long as it still does it, I'm okay. Okay, so what we're going to do, even though my computer decided that my graphics card isn't good enough, which is weird because it was doing perfectly fine earlier, we're going to go ahead and select this little guy right here. Just kind of looks like a boob of some sort. I don't even know. So give that a click, and that's going to make everything a little bit more round on the ends and all that, like so. Voila. And we're going to go to the depth for the extrude, and we're going to change that to 0. And then that just gets rid of all that excess junk that's kind of going on over there. And then we're going to go to the strength, and we're going to change that to 1.5. Actually, I take that back. It's just 1, not 1.5. Alright, and so the next thing that we want to take care of, if I move this over here just so you can see what's going on, if you look at the A and the E, you can see that it's got like, I don't know, there's supposed to be gaps in there, and there's just gray randomness. So we want to get rid of that. And the easiest way to do that is to go to this little tool right here. I don't even remember what it's called. Let's see what it's called. It is the Pan the 3D Constraint tool thing. I don't know, I guess it's a tool. Anyway, so with that, you're going to click on one of those center areas right there. And then you're going to go to the type, and we're going to change that from inactive to whole, like so. There we go. All right. So my computer's lagging a little bit. You might see a little glitchiness here and there. So that turns that into a whole, and just kind of do the same thing for the letter E. Alright, so everything seems to be going pretty smoothly. We got all the settings right, so we'll go ahead and hit OK. And so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and make this look like it's actually water instead of just a weird 3D, like bevelish looking blob thing. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and go to this 3D scene option off to the side and bring that up. If you don't have that, then you can just go up to Window 3D right there. And as you can see, we got quite a few options, but thankfully we just have to go to this first one right here, which is the front inflation material. And with that selected, we're going to go to the diffuse and give that little box a click, and we're going to change that to white. Come on, you can do it. Go to white. There you go. And we'll hit OK. And we'll leave the opacity at 100% and the bump at 1. But we're going to change the reflection to 20. And then we're going to and we're going to leave the illumination at, as a black, and we're going to change the gloss to 100%, and we're going to make the shine 100% as well. And then the specular, we're going to change that to white as well. Come on. My computer's like rebelling. You know what? Screw you. F. There. If you say F enough, it'll turn white. And then this this last one right here, the ambience, we're going to change that to black, like so. So we got whites, black, black, and then the reflection, we're going to change that to 1.5. That's that number I got mixed up earlier. Okay, so obviously we don't see a whole lot going on, so we still have some work to do. So we're going to go over to this bump map and click on this little folder icon next to it, and we're going to click New Texture, and then just leave the width and height and all that, just kind of the same dimensions and all that, and hit OK. And then over here you'll see that it added a little bump for waterfront inflation material. And so now, if you go back to this bump thing, you'll see that the folder icon changed. And we'll give that a click and go to Open Texture. And let's close this up. And as you can see, there's nothing here, so we have to add something to this bump texture. So we're going to go to Filter, Render, Clouds, and so we got these nice white and black clouds. If you didn't get those, make sure you got white and black as your foreground and background color before you do that. And so now we're going to go back to Filter, Render, Difference Clouds. That's going to create all kinds of craziness right here. And if it's looking a little too dark or too bright or whatever, you can always bring up the levels for it by hitting Control L. And let's brighten it up a little bit like so, and then bring the midtones in like that. And so we actually get some pretty good looking stuff going on here. And so we'll hit OK with that and go back to what we were working on before. And as you can see, we still don't have a whole lot going on. And so the easiest way to do that, not to do that, but to fix this kind of conundrum that we're having, is to control click or command click the thumbnail for the water layer to load it up as a selection. And then, shoot, what was I going to say? And then we're going to fill up that selection by hitting Control Backspace, because we've got black as our background color. So we're going to fill all of that up with black. And let's see, we got all kinds of weirdness going on here, which is not cool. It actually didn't select the entire thing. So let's go ahead and try something a little bit different. Let's undo that by hitting Control-Alt-Z and then Control-Alt-Z again. That way we're back to where we were just a couple steps ago. And for those of you that are on Macs, that would be Command-Option-Z. Just figured I'd point that out. And then let's go ahead and try and fill this up with black again by hitting Control Backspace or Command Delete, and we'll see what happens. Alright. Wow, we got all kinds of craziness going on here, and it's actually looking pretty cool. Wow. Turned out pretty sweet. Alright, so that actually turned out really nicely. For those of you that don't like how much white there is on the edges and all that, you can go to the effects icon and add a stroke, and then just leave that as a black stroke and just change the position to center. That will kind of get rid of some of that white edging. But I'm going to cancel that and just kind of leave it there, because I actually like how it's looking right now. Okay, so just a thing or two to add in would be the splashes. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over here and bring in my splashes off to the side right here. And these are just glasses of water with like ice being dropped in it, so nothing too fancy going on here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click and drag this larger glass image in here, and then I'm gonna set the blend mode of that to screen like so. And then I'm gonna bring up the transform tool by hitting Control T or Command T if you're on a Mac, and I'll just size this down while holding Alt and Shift. And then let's put this sucker over here, maybe give it a turn. Just kind of put this wherever you think it kind of needs to go. So I'm thinking right around there is going to be pretty cool. Yeah, actually it looks very nice right there. So I'll just go ahead and make sure that's good. And bring this one back and in like so. Set that guy to screen. And then make that a transform. Or transform that with Control T, I mean. Kind of said that weird. And let's kind of put that like right there, somewhere in there. I don't know. Let's actually go ahead and add more splash to that by taking this guy right here, which is this layer, the layer 1 right there. And we're going to duplicate that by hitting Control J or Command J. Bring up the transform tool with Control T. And let's just kind of bring this sucker up and over here like so. Right, let's do it like right there. Shazam. And we got some randomness going on here from layer 1, so I'll select layer 1, bring up my brush tool with letter B, and I'm going to size it up by hitting the right bracket key, and let's swap them over to black as our foreground color, and I'll just paint in black right there. Beautiful. Awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a better look at this. Alright, looking awesome. Alright, so that's actually pretty much all there is to this tutorial. It ended up a little bit longer than I thought, but I don't know, I'm just gonna go ahead and blame different things like a slow computer and like not even getting my microphone until like, I don't know, maybe it was 4, I don't even remember. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope you learned something new. Like always, I feel like I say that every single tutorial. I probably do. But hey, whatever. It's true nonetheless. I hope you learned something cool from this. Maybe you can make some cool effects and like send them to me in an email or something like that. Post them on our Facebook page, stuff like that. And if you like this tutorial, be sure to like it, share with others, all that good stuff, make us feel good. And that's all I've got for you guys today, so I will see you next Tuesday.